10 worst places to study abroad. If studying abroad is a chance to leave your corner of the world and explore other places while acquiring higher education. It is usually adventurous and fun, but could also easily devolve into a nightmare if you fail to do your homework. The world is a big place with different people, customs, laws, and climate, so you want to do some research on the country before applying to study there. In today's video, we share with you the different conditions when studying in certain countries may just be a bad idea for you. Before we get to it, if you're new to After School Africa channel, you are welcome. Consider subscribing to this channel to continue exploring opportunities. Here are 10 worst places to study abroad. 1. If you're naturally sweaty, Australia, Egypt. If you're someone who's naturally sweaty and gets hot easily, studying abroad in Australia or Egypt may not be ideal. Australia is a country with a vast desert at its center. The country experiences heats of up to 30 degrees Celsius during the summer months, which spans from December to February. Egypt is another country which sweaty students should probably avoid, given its hot and dry climate, which can reach 40 degrees Celsius during the summer months. 2. If you're hyperactive, Italy. Where you come from, you probably spend less than a minute on your food and bathe in 30 seconds. If you want a country that is as hyperactive as you are, run from Italy. Not only do Italians like to take their time during meals and business, they also seem to take it pretty easy in the university. A study found that university graduates in Italy lag behind other countries in skill sets and employment competitiveness, but at least they get to savor meals a whole lot more. If you don't want to be feeling like the only active person in class and perpetually screaming at receptionists behind counters to hurry up, you should avoid Italy. 3. If you're safety conscious, Brazil. We're all safety conscious. It's not like anybody intentionally wants to get hurt, but if you're hyper safety conscious, maybe studying in Brazil will be a nightmare for you. Pickpocketing is common, and women especially may want to avoid being out and about in the cities alone at night. If your heart is dead set on studying abroad in Brazil, check out a highly organized program and avoid the late night outings. You should also avoid the ghettos. 4. If you have a tight budget, England. Unless you happen to be on a fully funded scholarship or have upper middle class parents, chances are you have a tight budget for your study abroad. If this is the case, you may want to choose where you study carefully, unless you intend to turn a beggar halfway into your semester. England has some of the best universities in the world, but it's also one of the most expensive places to study. With the posh image and royal treatment comes a higher price tag. London specifically is one of the most expensive cities in the world. The pound sterling is one of the most expensive currencies in the world, meaning your local currency might become worthless by the time you convert it. Unless you have a scholarship, you want to stay away from England. 5. If you get bored easily, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is rich and has some nice universities. The country, however, is almost barren. The ultra-conservative country is lacking in almost every avenue of having fun. Alcohol is banned in the country, so are clubs. Cinemas were banned until last year, and women are expected to cover up completely when they step out. The country also has some of the most strict and archaic laws in the world. You could be flogged for just hugging a member of the opposite sex in Saudi Arabia. If you're seeking an adventurous study abroad experience, you want to avoid Saudi Arabia. 6. If you're a vegetarian, Portugal and Japan. Finding traditional Portuguese food that doesn't have fish or meat can be a struggle. After all, the country shares its entire eastern border with the Atlantic Ocean, so seafood is never in short supplies. Although vegetarianism is becoming more popular, Portugal still lags behind other European countries in the veggie-friendly department. So, if you can't eat anything that isn't green and leafy, you may want to avoid this Mediterranean nation. 7. If you love keeping to time, Nigeria. While this West African country will give you cheap tuition fees and low cost of living, it will make you wait to get them literally. In Nigeria, a popular phrase among the locals is African time. In Nigeria, an event billed to start by 2 p.m. would most likely begin by 4 p.m. It is culture among the locals. In some cases, being early at an event can be viewed as a sign of not having other things to do. So, if you're someone who loves to keep to time and is time conscious, you may want to avoid this country because Nigerians will make you wait. 8. If you're a lover of nature, China and Japan. China and Japan do have lots of spaces for nature, just not in their major cities, which is where most students are. An international student studying in China or Japan will most likely be living in Beijing, Tokyo, or Shanghai. These cities have few green spaces. Shanghai has some of the least amount of public green spaces in the world. This means you'll be hard-pressed to find a shady park to lie in while wandering the concrete jungle of lights. Tokyo is no exception, with blocks after blocks of skyscrapers and office spaces. There is plenty to enjoy in both countries, like Tokyo's amazing bullet trains. But if you're someone who is addicted to being around nature and nature spaces, these two countries may not be ideal. 9. If you are a morning person, Spain and Argentina. If you're the kind of early bird who likes to catch lots of worms in the wee hours of the morning, the thriving nocturnal cultures of Spain and Argentina may not be for you. Assuming you prefer to get a good night's sleep, early to rise means early to bed. It's a typical custom in Spain to eat dinner well into the night, usually after 8 p.m., and 6 a.m. could well be in bedtime. 10. If you don't like cold weather, Russia and Iceland. Supposing you're from the equatorial region of the world where the weather is rainy and hot for almost the whole year, studying in a country that is opposite of that might not be ideal for you. Russia and Iceland have some of the coldest cities on Earth. These countries are close to the Arctic, which receives very little to no sunshine for most of the year. While it may be nice for you to experience some snow, you may want to do that in the countries with shorter and milder winter seasons. In conclusion, variety is the spice of life. In addition to getting quality education, the essence of studying abroad is to experience a new place and way of life. So, you may find some of these points as reasons to go experience the country. It's your decision to make. The point is for you to have an idea what to expect. Which of these countries will you want to avoid? Tell us about it in the comment section below. If you're yet to subscribe to the After School Africa channel, now is a good time to do that. Until next time, your success matters.